Um, I'm gonna take some time to look at this. So, first of all, I've always rated Gina Yashere. But I think on this topic with the her saying, and I look how 154 phrased it as well. Their thing was saying, Jamaicans hate Africans or something along those lines. But I think there's a lot of generalizing going on. One point that I wasn't happy with her saying was that Jamaicans didn't know about African origins, and that is simply not true. But let's hear what she's saying there.
Being told so.
So this is the 154 thing, and I do watch it with Godfrey and that. But you lot need to provide a bit more nuance and maybe get a Jamaican person with that experience on to just kind of balance it out. I don't know.
Oh yes, this is win rush.
This is not even look. This breeds division. I don't like that title. Jamaicans and Africans hated each other. That is a generalization. It might be sort of unfamiliarity and stuff like that, but that is a generalization too.
Oh, right? God. Windrush came.
He said they did not know they were descendants from Africa until Roots came out. That's foolishness. Of course, Jamaicans knew that they were descendants from Africa. Come on, man. Rastafarianism is Rastafarianism. The whole concept, and it was founded in Jamaica. Marcus Garvey was even before that. Of the idea that the homeland was Africa, so the idea that Jamaicans didn't know about Africa prior to Roots, which came out in the 70s or something, is just foolishness.
Came over to England to help after the First World War. So,
yes, right.
She's wrong about that as well, because it wasn't after the First World War; it was after the Second World War. They came into the NHS. I know, trust me. Force trust me, bro. But yeah, they came. They worked on London Underground. They worked in a lot of different sort of white collar jobs and stuff to support the country after the Second World War, and the Windrush was in the 60s. First World War was in between 1914 and 1918. The Second World War was between 1939 and 1945. So they didn't come after 1918. I mean, significantly after 1980, they came after 1945. So that I don't know. I kind of feel. She's a comedian at the end of the day, so I do understand that you got to take some things that comedians say with a pinch of salt. But when you're talking about actual facts, you got to pattern up properly. But I've got love for her same way. Big up Gina. She's a great comedian and stuff, but I don't like this type of stuff.
No.
And the flags here is mind games as well. Because I don't know if people know, but I think in South Africa at the moment they've got this thing. So that's the South African flag. They've got this issues between Nigerian and other West African immigrants, South Africa, and also South Africans to find that business, ensure that jobs are given to South Africans. As I understand, it's a bit more complex and nuanced than that, and I'd probably do another video on it. But the point is, put in a. First of all, they're talking about West African. Gina is her ancestry is West African, and she's Nigerian. So putting a South African flag here is mad. I don't know what Godfrey and these men are trying to do. Putting a South African flag there. So that's the first thing. Second thing is putting a Jamaican flag next to it. They're not even talking about issues between South Africans and Jamaicans, so I don't understand. 154, you lot pattern up, man.
They came over the 40s and 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
That's right. It's not the okay.
And that colonialism, they brainwashed Caribbean.
Okay, so I'll accept that some people were brainwashed. Not everybody was brainwashed. There was some colonialization and all them things going on, but it wasn't everybody. So don't generalize too much.
Jamaicans and didn't even know that they were descended from Africa.
That is nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Jamaicans definitely knew, for the most part, that they were descended from Africa. I think what Gina may, and I'm gonna give her credit for this. I think what she may have come across is people with allegiance to the motherland. Some people saw the motherland as England. That is true. And at the time, a British passport, if you're Jamaican, because Jamaica, they've got their independence at a particular time in the 60s, whatever it was. You actually had, if you're Jamaican, you actually had a British passport. So the motherland was Britain rather than Africa for some, but others may have denied African ancestry for their own particular familial reasons, or trying to have that sort of link to Jamaica. But she might have heard denials, but it didn't mean she can generalize that to everybody. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I went to school with kids who had no idea. No, man, I'm Jamaican. We're top.
I'm not gonna look. That's her experience. I'm not gonna knock that. If that's what she heard and that's what they said to her, I'm not gonna knock that. But that is just one picture that you can't overgeneralize to all Jamaicans, which I think she does. She conflicts subjective and objectivity.
Well, my mum and dad are Jamaican.
I know that happened.
And I'd be like, you weren't in. Your ancestors were brought to. They did not know.
Wow.
And
yeah, so what she should have said then, the ones that the school with her did not know, but she doesn't really clarify that at any point, as I understand it. She's saying they did not know, which is like a generalising all Jamaican in the diaspora in England at the time. Not they, the ones she knew did not know.
until Roots came out. They didn't know because they were deliberately kept uneducated.
Yes.
I agree that some were deliberately kept uneducated. I agree with that.
So because of that, there was a chasm between Africans born in Africa and Caribbeans, because Caribbeans looked at.
That is true to some extent, but for example, look, my parents are just Jamaican. I went to church with Ghanaians, Nigerians, and other African people, and we were all there as one. We used to eat each other's food. We used to do all sorts, and the idea that there was such a chasm as she describes it, to me is just I don't see where she's come from. That's my anecdotal experience. With that said, I can understand that in other areas of life. I mean, I even went to schools where there's Africans and Caribbean people were just just as one type of people and stuff. But I'm not gonna knock her experience. What she shouldn't do and what I shouldn't do is generalize. That's as simple as that.
Africans and like, ugh, they think they're better than us, and they come from the jungle and all this because all they knew about Africans was what was in the Tarzan movies.
Oh yeah,
that's not true either. That is not true. That's just not true. She's just completely generalizing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then Africans look down on Caribbeans again. They look at them. They don't even know their own history. They're useless. So there was that. So my mum did not. So my mum won't let me go anywhere.
Again, I can't comment on her own experience.
And she did not like it when I had Caribbean, Jamaican. I just Jamaicans, don't mix with them. You know, my mum would rather I had white friends than Jamaican friends. That's how bad it is.
Again, I can't go against her own personal experience.
insane.
So she wouldn't let me go to any parties. One time when I was 15, a girl who lived
Yeah, so that's kind of where some of the generalisation that I'm talking about came from. And and she's doubled down. A certain commentator says dumbed down. It's not dumbed down, it's double down. The context, the way you use that phraseology. Someone says dumbed down. She's definitely doubled down on it. And we'll look at that here. This is where she kind of doubles down on it. But I say doubles down, not really, because she does say she's not taking back her chat, my words. But she does say she personally sees all people from either Africa and the Caribbean as one. That's what she does say that. So to be fair, she does say that.
and family. And
she said, "I said what the F I said. Oh, and Happy June. And comics have been reaching out to me, telling me Chelsea was an F and." That's another part of what she was discussing. I was that Russell Peters stole from her as well. So there's that. So Gina has spoken. I said what I said and what. No apologies. Sorry. Gina rants. Okay, Gina. Okay.
The internet is
Look, I rate her anyway. I rate her like outspoken. She's standing on her thing, but I think she's just incorrect factually in some of the stuff she's saying.
obviously popping off over my 154 Africa podcast. And, well, it is what it is. I said what I said,
She's saying I said what I said.
and I stand by everything. These are my experiences. This is what happened to me. And you can believe me or not believe.
There you go. So she said that's her experience. I just feel, Gina, I feel that you didn't take away from a generalisation. Didn't just hone in on experiences. You made general points. That's my issue with what you said. I don't knock your experience.
Believe me. I don't give a shit. But if you know me,
and there was a time when some African young people were denying that they were African and pretending to be Caribbean Jamaican, because being Jamaican or Caribbean Jamaican in particular was the cool thing to do. So that's part of the nuance as well. She didn't really discuss that so much, but that is the other side of things.
You've been following me for a while. You know that I'm a truth teller. I've always been a truth teller. Which is probably why it took me a lot longer to make it in my career, because I was never willing.
So I rate her for she's no nonsense still.
To bend over or shut my mouth just for a little bit of success. So if you know me, then you know, people, I'm old.
And she's old, so
I'm in my don't give a shit phase of life.
There's one thing about what she says next, which I do rate. She said that she invested well, and that's something to take on board. As again, I remind you, this channel is about success and motivation. And she's saying that she's essentially invested well. She's got enough money. She doesn't need extras and stuff like that because of her investment, and so she set herself up. So that's part of becoming successful. Not having to rely on anybody else.
Well, I'm just going to say what the hell I'm going to say. And what makes it even worse for you guys, or better, depending on how you see it, I've also invested well. So I can retire and not work, and I'll be all right, because I'm not greedy.
I rate that, man.
I've got enough money. I don't need lots of money. I've got enough to live quite comfortably. And so I can't be threatened.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm just saying that she was wrong on some things, but she's right. Nobody should be threatening her or anything like that. People are entitled to disagree. Do you see what I'm saying?
By my work being taken away if I don't keep my mouth shut. And because of that, I'm going to say what the fuck I'm going to say.
Come on. She ain't having it. I still think you're wrong, Gina, but I hear you're not having it.
Now, having said that, I'm not just out here looking for trouble. I'm just telling the stories of what happened to me and telling my...
There you go. So she's really clarifying that essentially she's describing her experience. And that's a helpful clarification.
Experiences. Maybe I'll write a second book. Have you guys got the first book, Cack-handed? It's in all good bookstores. Anyway, just wanted to address...
Come on. All right. No, big you up, Gina. As I say, look, you're talking on your experiences. I still feel that you generalised. She's saying here something about a new name for BAFTA. I haven't looked at the clip, so I'm not going to go into that. But she's not having it. Big up thing, man. Big up Kenya. But she's just not having it. Not having it, man. Not having it. Was she in? Oh, she was an alien in a particular show. I don't know. She was in Star Trek. I didn't know that. Actually, do you know what? Star Trek don't ramp. I didn't know that. Big girl, I didn't know she was in Star Trek. Let me just play a little bit. Okay, big her up. I didn't know she was in that. Big her up. I never knew. But yeah, she's well, once you're in Star Trek, you know these Comic-Cons and them types of things there. She's set still for life. She's set. And good for her for that. Great comic, great actress, and she's doing bits. So, yeah, man. Big you up, Gina. I think you're wrong, mate. But big you up. Godfrey's always whining people. Godfrey's a comedian, always doing these impressions and stuff. You lot, I understand you do stuff for attention, but some of these titles aren't really helpful, man. Jamaicans and Africans don't hate each other, man. Allow it. That's what man's saying on it. All right. There might have been some commentaries from some other people. Brother, it's I'm not. Let me just leave that there. See if I can find one. All right, let's look at this one from this lady.
See, I don't understand why some Caribbeans tend to suffer from what we call amnesia today. Maybe it's the African music, maybe it's the African women, or maybe it's the African men.
So she's saying that making people, Caribbean people, are forgetting or something.
I don't know. Someone please let me understand. Because I'm finding it difficult to comprehend why Caribbeans are getting so annoyed with Gina Yashere for speaking.
Well, I've explained some of it. Because she did generalise. There wasn't enough... Sorry, there wasn't enough nuance.
Her truth, when in reality, she is correct.
She thinks she's correct. I think this lady is African.
Her experience growing up under African parents was exactly my experience growing up in the early 90s. Now, my parents had a similar disdain for...
Okay, fair enough. As I said, I'm not going to knock people's description of their own experiences. What's this lady saying?
Jamaican patois literally tells...
This is from another time. Hay fever is mad today. What's this brother saying?
Yo, I'm not all the way mad at Gina Yashere for her post, you know. Let me tell you what. Walk with it.
This brother called Cersei, he's sounds Caribbean anyway.
Gina Yashere is coming from a time where, when she was coming up, it wasn't really cool to be anything black necessarily in the UK. She's coming from a time where there wasn't much representation at all for black people in the UK, and self-hate was at an all-time high. Now don't get it twisted.
Okay.
I wanted to get pissed. I wanted to get mad at Gina as well, but then
I'm not mad at Gina. I can disagree with someone and describe my views eloquently. There's no need to get mad at anyone.
I had to really think about this. Let's sit down for a second. She spoke about her personal experience, her lived experience.
Let me just read it. There's a story to be told about the children of immigrants in the 80s. The hierarchy dependent on which country you are, and you came British born and raised kids were at the top and everyone else sees somewhere else. I agree with that. Separation is still visible, but we like to pretend it isn't in a way. I just think that the bit I felt was incorrect was that Jamaicans didn't know about Africa. African origins. That's what I'm focusing on.
Growing up in the UK of a certain generation.
It's just different points. It's just different points, man. But big up you, Cersei. I'll just see if I see some other commentary on this. I mean, this is another nuance. And I agree with this. Jamaica's not black. Jamaica is the motto's out of many one people.
My fellow Jamaicans, it is abundantly clear.
But do you know what? Actually, it's mostly black. To be fair, it is mostly black, and most black people come from Africa. So that is a fact. But there's definitely a percentage of other people who may be Chinese, for example, like this lady, or even from. I was taught that the Arawaks and Caribs, the Arawaks in particular, did not survive. The Caribs may have survived to some extent, but there's very, very little indigenous population of Jamaica now, as I understand it. Anyway, that's where we are on this, man. You lot, let me know what you think. Anyway, you lot, let me know what you think, Mello. That's what's going on. All right, moving on from that one.